Before Babylon, before the ziggurats, before the empires of man carved their names into the dust of Mesopotamia, there was chaos. And in the divine council of the gods, there was a minor deity, a god nobody knew. His name was Marduk. He was the son of Ea, or Enki, the god of wisdom and water. And while his father was one of the three great Anunnaki rulers, alongside Anu of the sky and Enlil of the air, Marduk was insignificant. Ambitious, yes. Intelligent, certainly. The texts say he was born a giant, with 4 eyes to see all things and 4 ears to hear all things, his very form whispering of a potential for greatness. But in the rigid hierarchy of the heavens, he was just another name on a long list. This was a universe still forming, born from 2 primordial beings, Apsu, the spirit of fresh water, and his consort, Tiamat, the dragon of saltwater chaos. They were the parents of the gods, and their children were loud. The younger gods, full of life and energy, were reckless. Their noise, their celebrations, their very existence echoed through the cosmos, disturbing the ancient slumber of their parents. Apsu, the father, could bear it no longer. He went to Tiamat and spoke the words that would begin the war. Their ways are hateful to me. By day I find no rest, by night I find no sleep. I will destroy them. Tiamat, the mother, was furious at the suggestion, but Apsu was resolved. He plotted the end of his own children. But you cannot plot against the children of Ea, the god of wisdom, and hope to succeed. Ea discovered the plan. In a swift, preemptive strike, he cast his father Apsu into a deep sleep, and then he killed him. From the corpse of Apsu, Ea built his home. It was a victory, but it was a victory that would unleash hell. The news of Apsu's death reached Tiamat. The Chaos Dragon, who had once defended her children, was now consumed by a grief that twisted into genocidal rage. She declared total war. This was not a simple battle. This was an uncreation. Tiamat, the mother of all, began to spawn a new brood, an army of 11 horrific monsters born from the heart of chaos. She brought forth the viper, the sphinx, the great lion, the mad dog, and the scorpion man. She created demons and dragons whose very sight was terror. And to lead this monstrous army, she chose a new consort, Kingu. She elevated him, gave him the Tablet of Destinies, the divine artifact that controlled the fate of the entire universe, and fastened it to his breast. When the Anunnaki gods saw Tiamat's army, they were paralyzed with fear. This was their mother, the primordial ocean, risen against them. Ea, the clever, was helpless, and Lil, the powerful, was cowed. Anu, the king, simply retreated in terror. The pantheon was broken. And into this vacuum of leadership stepped Marduk. He saw his moment. He went before the terrified assembly of the gods in their hidden council chamber. He was calm, confident, and he made them a demand that was pure, cold political genius. If I am to be your champion, if I am to face the dragon Tiamat and save us all, then you must grant me a new fate. You must decree that my word and mine alone decides the destiny of all things. When I am victorious, you will gather in assembly and proclaim me supreme, king of all gods, above Anu, above Enlil. My authority will be absolute. It was the ultimate gamble. He was asking them to trade their entire system of power for their very survival. The desperate gods had no choice. They agreed. They held a great feast, hailing him as their champion. They gave him the royal throne, the scepter, and the ring. They bestowed upon him the weapons of the gods, and they sent him forth alone to face the mother of all monsters. Marduk did not go unprepared. He was the son of wisdom, but he was also the god of the storm. He gathered his own arsenal, an arsenal of cosmic-scale destruction. He commanded the four winds, the south wind, the north wind, the east wind, the west wind, and created four more, the evil wind, the whirlwind, the tempest, and the fourfold wind. He trapped them, holding them in his grasp. He built a new weapon, the Imhulu, a wind of pure devastation. He took up his great bow, strung the arrow, and slung his mace at his side. He filled his body with a blazing fire. Then he summoned the storm chariot, a vehicle of unimaginable terror, harnessed to four celestial beasts, the murderer, the relentless, the trampler, and the swift. Their teeth were poisoned. They were trained for one thing, to tear apart the enemies of the new king. At last, he was ready. He set his face toward the abyss and rode his chariot directly into the heart of Tiamat's horde. The moment she saw him, the Chaos Dragon shrieked. The text says she screamed in a high, piercing voice, her legs trembling. She tried to cast a spell, to utter an incantation, to unmake him. But Marduk was too fast. He did not charge her. He unleashed his trap. He released the four winds, the seven winds, all at once. They formed a vast, inescapable net, a prison of gales that surrounded Tiamat, buffeting her, pinning her in place. She thrashed and roared, but she could not move. She was trapped in the eye of his storm. This was the moment. Marduk raised his other weapon, the Imhulu, the evil wind. As Tiamat opened her massive jaws to scream, to try and devour him, he drove the Imhulu straight down her throat. The effect was instantaneous and horrific. The wind was a solid thing, a devastating force. It filled her, expanding inside her body like a pressurized star. It distended her belly. It pressed against her heart. She was inflated, pinned from the outside by the net of winds, and torn apart from the inside by the evil wind. She was helpless, a monstrous floating target. Marduk raised his bow. He nocked his arrow. He took aim, not at her head, not at her limbs, but straight at her heart, which was pounding against her ribs. He let the arrow fly. It pierced her skin, ripped through her flesh, and split her heart in two. She was dead. The chaos of the universe died with her. Her army, the 11 monsters, turned and fled in blind terror. But there was no escape. Marduk captured them all.
He smashed their weapons. He bound them and threw them into the underworld. He tore the tablet of destinies from the corpse of their general, Kingu, and fastened it to his own breast. The war was over. The battle for reality was won. Marduk stood alone, panting, surrounded by the silence of a new cosmos, and he looked upon the massive, floating corpse of the dragon, and he began to create.
With his mace, Marduk, now the king of gods, smashed the skull of Tiamat. He split her body in two, like a shellfish. With one half, he arched it high above, and it became the heavens, the sky. He set a bolt in place to ensure her chaotic waters would not fall through. The other half, he laid it down, and it became the earth. Her eyes, her weeping, defeated eyes. He opened them, and from them flowed the two great rivers of his new world, the Tigris and the Euphrates. From her body he sculpted the mountains. From her essence, the clouds and the cold. The universe we know was built from the corpse of his greatest enemy. And at the very center of this new creation, the navel of the world, he built a city, his city, Babylon. Above it, in the heavens, he built its celestial counterpart, the Asegula, the house of the uplifted head, a great ziggurat, a stairway to heaven, connecting his throne on high to his capital on earth. The cosmos was built. Now it needed to be run. Marduk, the new king, became the great organizer. He assigned all the other gods their duties. He gave Anu the sky, Enlil the earth, and Ea the waters. But they were no longer kings. They were his governors, his vassals. He set the stars in their constellations, assigned the moon its phases, and fixed the calendar. But the gods had one complaint. This new order required work, maintenance. They had to toil. Marduk, ever the strategist, conceived one final creation. He took Kingu, the defeated general of Tiamat, and brought him before the assembly. On Marduk's order, Kingu was executed, and his father, Ea, took the god's blood, mixed it with the clay of the new earth, and from it he fashioned the first humans, Lulu, the man. Our purpose was defined in that moment. We were created for one reason, and one reason only: to be the servants of the gods, to toil, to farm the land, raise the livestock, build the temples, and sing the praises of our masters, so that the gods in their temples could finally be at rest. Marduk's reign was total, his power absolute. And every year, at the Akitu, the New Year's festival, all the kings of Mesopotamia would travel to Babylon. They would be led into the Asagila temple, and they would kneel before the magnificent, towering golden statue of Marduk. They would grasp his hands, reaffirming his power, and in return he would grant them another year of kingship. Marduk was no longer a minor god. He was omnipotent. He was the center of reality. In the world of men, power is a shadow. It is not eternal. A god's power
is tied to their city. When Babylon was mighty, Marduk was undisputed. But when Babylon was attacked, Marduk's authority was challenged. A strange and terrifying event began to occur: the kidnapping of the god. When invaders, like the Hittites, sacked Babylon, they did not just steal its gold, they stole the statue of Marduk. They carried the god himself in chains back to their own capital. For the Babylonians, this was a cosmic humiliation. The god himself was a prisoner of war. The Akitu festival could not be held. The cosmos was in disarray. The world held its breath until a Babylonian king was strong enough to retrieve the statue and restore order. Later, the mighty Assyrians conquered Babylon. They did not dare destroy Marduk. Instead, they tried to absorb him. They claimed that Marduk was merely one aspect of their own supreme god, Ashur. They tried to rewrite the creation epic. Marduk's unique identity began to blur. Then came the Persians. Their great king, Cyrus, conquered Babylon, but he did it by paying respect to Marduk. He claimed the god himself had invited him in to restore order. Marduk was no longer a king. He was a political tool, a piece of foreign propaganda. The final end was not a bang. It was a whisper. Alexander the Great conquered the Persians. His Hellenistic culture saturated the land. New gods, Zeus and Aphrodite, became fashionable. And then new religions, Yahweh, and later Christ and Allah. Slowly, over centuries, the temples of Babylon emptied. The Esagila crumbled. The Akitu festival was forgotten. The great golden statue was likely melted down for coin. Marduk, the god who defeated chaos, the king of kings, was forgotten. His temples turned to dust, buried beneath the shifting sands. The story of Marduk is the story of Babylon. It is an epic of ambition, a tale of order forged from chaos. But it is also a timeless political lesson. He wasn't just a god of power. He was the justification for an empire's power. And when that empire fell, the god fell with it. His rise was meteoric, from a minor deity to the supreme ruler of the universe. But his fall serves as the ultimate reminder that even omnipotence can one day fade until it is nothing more than a myth.